Good morning, guys. Today I'm here with Trent, and my name is Bowman. We're here to demonstrate the capabilities of RedList. I'm going to log in here. The first thing we want to talk about is how RedList can digitize the paper processes that are on the site. For example, a great example of this is how the process flow of pre-ops. Pre-op inspections, an operator, every time he operates, has to fill out a pre-op, check the brakes, check the horn, make sure that there's no leaks, make sure that the tires there's no massive holes in the sidewall or anything like that. If there's anything defective, that piece of paper then goes to maintenance, and an admin enters in all of the reports or the defective reporting into the system. That system then triggers out a work order that is another paper that the technician then takes. The maintenance guy fixes everything, signs off on it, returns it back to the admin, who then scans it into the system and checks it off, signs it to the asset, and attaches that scanned document to the asset in the system. Very manual process. The part of RedList that reduces all of that manual entry is called forms. So within the forms tool, we have created a couple examples that are done at Round Mountain: body inspection forms, shovel inspections, ALPM checklists, any 500-hour, 1,000-hour services. Let's just look at this one, for example. Mechanic goes out, inspects the bed thicknesses on the trucks. He records them all by hand, takes them back to his office, enters them into a system, which is then tracked over time. A lot of manual entry. The point of this inspection is take it all digital. You put in the truck number, put it all in one time, and as soon as you click submit, boom, you've got a trending chart on the dashboard within RedList that kind of trends down. And depending on your responses, you can run any kind of logic, which takes me to the next part of forms. Inside the builder here, you can look at, let's look at the shovel inspection. So if I have a question that I wanted to edit on this shovel, let's say I'm looking at the boom or any kind of pin that you want to make sure if they say no, that the grease isn't coming out, you want to force them to attach a photo, or you want to create a work order of that to have someone go and check the injectors, or you want to email someone, notify them what's going on. You want to require this question to be answered before they can move on. Any type of logic that you want to design into your forms to force answers or require an answer or make sure that some behavior is done, you can do that. The sky is the limit in this tool. So once you click save, then that logic is built into the form. As part of the forms, just to give you a couple examples, this can be used for pre-op inspections. Obviously, we can do these for JSAs, fire inspections, crack propagations if you want to trend those digitally, lockout, tagout, safety forms. A lot of the customers use this tool to just do their safety inspections, but in reality, anything that is a manual paper process can be digitized, and all of that data that you collect can eventually be trended, tracked, charted, and dissected to make decisions on. Create work orders, workflow, all of that process will be digital and automatic and eliminate all of that manual data entry, which is a big plus for the forms tool. Next, we'll talk about how your oil analysis program can be integrated into RedList. Now, if we go into the quick view, this is kind of where you can kind of see the whole landscape all at once. I'm just going to drill into let's say the plant. This is something we put together for Round Mountain Gold just to kind of show as a demo. We charted a lot of the equipment, entered a lot of it into the system. If I click here, This is one of the Orman agitators, and you can kind of get really granular, drill down into any asset that you're looking at, and you can, by asset, look at the oil sample history. Now, obviously, this isn't integrated. That's something that RedList would do for Round Mountain Gold as part of the ExxonMobil relationship. You can link data sensors, any kind of work orders. Here you can kind of see what's overdue. You can see what you've done. You can filter by date when it's due. You can see any history of inspections. This would be like if you were to click into a shovel, you would see all the inspections in that shovel. From a KPI standpoint, this can be customized. In my mind, what I would like to see is how much is this asset costing me? How many labor hours have I assigned to this asset? Or how many hours has it costed me to maintain this piece of equipment? How many times have I been late on PMs? Or how many times is this not an alert, right? And then utilization obviously is a big deal. So how many hours am I getting out of this asset? And understand that this data is all dummy data. It's not accurate. So, but that's kind of where your oil analysis could integrate right here. So you're not having to log into multiple different systems. You just pull in each sample to the direct asset to see the history and what's going on with the asset. So next, I'd like to take you to the loop charting section of this tool. If you go into preventative maintenance, you can see the backbone of every repetitive task that you're doing on the mine site, whether it's changing a filter on a 500-hour PM or doing a grease route every 6 weeks. Every single task that is going to be done on the site here is on a recurring repetitive cycle. So this is kind of where the backbones are. And then all of this is then replicated onto the quick view. So anything, this is, you can see, is the live version. You can change it into builder, where it's very easy to change stuff. You want to move the node where it's located. If this asset is actually right there, it's very easy to change. Change it back because that's where it actually is. Very easy to do on the fly. Permissions, and you can have a power user that you don't want everybody coming in here and changing everything all the time. But this is how that loop chart is displayed and how it interacts with your team. Anyone can come in here, and as a manager, you can say, oh, something's blinking red. There's intention that needs to be made. That's kind of one of the names for RedList is exactly this, is a blinking red. There's something that needs to be actioned. You click onto that, pulls you in. Maybe it's a bearing point that hasn't been greased on the same exact, here's an electric motor we're drilling down. Okay, it's the bearing on an electric motor that needs to be PM'd, wasn't greased on time. But that's why we call it interactive. You can drill down as deep as you need to, or you can zoom out as far as you need to, from a management level or from a mechanic level. So that's kind of how the quick view loop charting works. It's an interactive loop chart, very easy to update, maintain. So the next section. Okay, for the next section, I'd like to take you guys to show you a little bit about how the work orders system works. This is kind of where you do a lot of planning. Work week 1, week 2, week 3. You can think of this as my queue. Currently, what I've got going today. Icebox is what's on backlog, what I did last week. Kind of look at it all together. In the mine, this might be customized for you guys to say today, next week, 2 weeks from now. But essentially, if there's something on the queue that needs to be shifted, it's a drag and drop system. I want to do this before that. I want this to move up to today. This thing, let's put this on the icebox, finish that tomorrow. It's very easy to drag and drop. And one of the benefits of that is if I go into a route, let's say there's 3 mechanics working on a haul truck. Let's look at this one. There's 11 tasks on it. It takes 4.5 hours to complete. These are all the tasks that you have to do on this haul truck PM. And you know, you don't want people walking all over each other. There's a certain order and a rhyme to the reason. You can assign, let's say, these first 5 tasks to one mechanic and the last 5 to the other mechanic. And so these first 5 might be on one side and these last 5 might be on the other side, so they're not tripping all over each other. One of the big issues in a mine is you got lots of turnover and you got a lot of new people working with each other. So you can kind of control the flow of work by changing the order of things. You optimize, you know, and in any given task, you know, you can break these tasks up. This is where a lot of the cost data, you know, if you're changing a filter, you put how much the filter costs. If the actual time to complete is 15 minutes, but it took you 20 minutes, you can change that as soon as you check it off. All of the background data, you can have videos here to describe how this task is supposed to be handled. As soon as a mechanic clicks it off, you know, it's supposed to take him 30 minutes. Well, actually it took me 1 hour. You know, as soon as I click done, sign my name, Trent's name, I'm gonna put 0 minutes, sign and complete, that now logged into the cost of this asset digitally and can be tracked and pulled up on a dashboard. So that's kind of give you an idea of what routes are, how work orders are managed. Our intention with Round Mountain Gold is to build this system so that it runs very smoothly and without bugs for you guys in the way that you want it to work. So if that means changing what these are called, customizing it to your terminology, that's something that is on the table. So that is the work order system in a nutshell. There's a lot more bits and pieces that I didn't talk about, but that's kind of a quick overview. The next section I want to show you is where you kind of can look at your costs. This is a sample dashboard of certain KPIs that you want to track, whether it's downtime, labor, product cost, by asset. You can drill into each one of these. It can kind of show you a comparison of what's costing you the most versus what's costing you the least. You guys are very familiar, I think, with Tableau. This is Power BI, very similar platform. But essentially you can track any cost associated with any asset, and you can kind of chart it up which way you want. Filter on dates, times. It kind of, you know, this is live data by a customer of RedList that they let us show to you guys. Another category that I wanted to show you is in the products section. This is kind of where you can track your inventory. Any part, you can have oil parts, filters, breathers, anything that you have in your storeroom. You get your mins and max, your quantity that you have in stock. You can click into those and update them. You can change your maxes and your mins. Here's where you register the price. So whenever you check off a work order that contains anything in it, you're recording a price, a cost associated with that, which logs into the cost and puts it into the asset, which I can show you that really quick as well. If I go into the asset tab, this is where you can kind of look up any asset that you have. It's gonna break down any kind of products costs, labor costs, wear costs, downtime costs that you have associated to any work order that's performed on that asset. In light of this video getting longer, I'm going to kind of cut it off and save any other questions for you guys. If you guys have questions, we can answer them in live when we're there on Tuesday. But there's a lot of other capabilities. Those are kind of the highlights. Hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for your time, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday. Thanks.